100 players survive. This Minecraft trend seems to have taken the internet by storm as of recently. Who started it? When did it start? And why do I really not care about any of those details? The biggest question that I want to answer for myself is there a civilization that works the best? Now, obviously, that is sort of an objective thing. What makes a society work in the first place? Realistically, there's plenty of societies that have quote-unquote worked in the past, but were they successful? How do we determine success in these societies? Considering that this is just for Minecraft experiment videos, I figure it's probably going to be good if we set some actual standards. If you guys haven't noticed yet, there seems to be a trend on these civilization videos where they say it's an experiment, but there's really no experiment going on. So with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and set the groundwork. I think to start, it would be easiest to do something that's measurable. So let's take the economy, for example. How many resources does this economic power take up? Something that could be delivered in evidence could be how many nations are directly opposed to this nation or would like to cooperate with this nation, say be allies. And lastly, something that is not quite as easy to measure: how satisfied are their citizens? It seems to be throughout time that there are two driving factors in a citizen's base to not revolt. That being fear or satisfaction. If either of these facets are lost in the society for control for one reason or another, usually it'll end up falling. And I guess that also begs the question, would regime change be a part of this as well? However, I think to make this simpler, really we should just measure a more direct metric. How many people end up surviving from the same civilization from start to finish? Obviously, this is very preliminary groundwork for what could be metrics, so let me know down in the comments below if you guys have any ideas on how I should measure this Minecraft civilization success. Now, personally, I've not actually been a part of any of these Minecraft experiments, quote-unquote, so I'm gonna have to get some information from people who have experience here. And fortunately, over the last week, I've gotten a couple of voices to speak on the matter. Needless to say, it wasn't the most smooth process, and I can let that speak for itself.
So how many of these experiments have you played in?
How are you, man? Hello, hello, I love you. You are my idol.
This guy's kind of...
Yeah, gotta enjoy the childlike enthusiasm. Either way, after putting together a series of questions, I finally got some answers that I think were somewhat helpful for what I'm trying to do here. So hopefully we can come to some consensuses based off of that.
So how many of these have you participated in?
I played in the prison experiment.
Okay.
And the 1,000 player civilization experiment.
Gotcha.
So yes, what was the next question?
Yeah, I was, during the first stages of a civilization, what made it appealing to join? Was it just like any sort of,
It's like an SMP, but the thing is, like, you each have specific goals and everything of what you want to do, and you get to play with a lot of friends, and just the sheer size of it, seeing all these people run around, it was really fun. And also, no worry, right? The first few days are PvP off, so pretty fun there to just not immediately die.
Right, for sure.
So wait, so before you applied to the event, were you already an active member of the state community?
Yeah, I was in 1.7.
See, it's completely different for me because I joined alone.
Yeah. No, I'm still here. If you want to answer during the first stages of civilization, what made it appealing to join?
Have you ever played on the server?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so Stoneworks is what State Season 2 is. Like, it's an massive RP server. You make nations. It has a factions plugin, but that's so you don't get griefed when you're offline.
Okay,
But
yeah.
that's really the problem with it, is that sometimes you'll be offline, and nobody will be in your nation. And so what appeals to me is the limited playtime. You're only given an hour per day. When I saw the season 1 video, it got interesting. But in season 2, it's 2 hours per day. But anyway, the limited playtime means everyone's on all at the same time. So.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
So what things did you have?
Yeah, so the first question, I think you were out of it. So how many civilization experiments have you played in? And that could be in this server or outside.
At least I would say probably 7.
Okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
you got a pretty good reputation. Have you ever actually taken up a leadership role in those? Or?
I do not like leadership roles.
Okay.
Myself. I don't like being in like a leadership position. I feel like it's just too much, honestly. Too much pressure on you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. All right, so the next question I had, so during the first stages of a civilization, what made it appealing to join?
Like during like just to play with friends and everything? Like are you saying like days
Yeah.
1 and 2 or
So-
like what to like apply?
Yeah, so probably for the first few days, because the idea of like that I was thinking of, right, is that oftentimes people are going to join civilizations because there's, going to be something mutually beneficial for players to get from joining into a civilization because like, oh, you guys have more resources, there's more people playing into the same thing, so people can delegate and whatnot. That would be like, I would consider the main reason why anybody would want to join a civilization. I just wanted to get an idea of what, if there was certain ways, like maybe if somebody was more of like a harsh dictator, if you prefer that whole scheme, or if it's like, red-blooded, freedom-loving American type stuff, or maybe something in between, maybe you're a socialist,
That's fair, yeah. As for that, my whole thing was, my friends and I, we decided to run the tavern and everything back when we first joined State. We joined here thinking State Season 2 was going to be, like, done and quit. But that actually happened over 2 years ago. We all joined at the same time, and we were talking about going to basically build a tavern as we applied for application position to read the applications for the events.
Right.
So it was actually pretty fun. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to make a neutral approach where we could just have fun, sell beer, and basically see if we could successfully run a business without getting killed.
Gotcha. So you weren't even really there for, so say if there was, like, if you were just on a plot of land, if there was an evil dictator or something along those lines, as long as they weren't necessarily messing with you specifically, you didn't care what was going on around you.
Exactly, yeah.
Gotcha. So let's say if you had to join a civilization, what would you say would deter you specifically from that? So obviously we already made it clear that you don't really care who's in charge as long as they're just not messing with you specifically over stuff. Would if they were to mess with you, what would be too much for you to be like, okay, I'm out of here, I'm defecting, or I'm gonna do something about it?
I'm definitely not a fan of a leader that will basically just use or view his subjects as tools.
Okay. So pretty much any basic dictatorship.
Yeah, I do not approve of like Storming Hell's whole thing.
So next question. Obviously in this society you lasted the whole, or in the last civilization you lasted the whole experiment, right?
Yep.
What would you say kept you alive for that? Was it just the fact that you had, good rapport with everyone and provided a good product, or?
Good rapport definitely helped a lot. Definitely being I would say I wasn't as well known probably. I was like a candidate for mod at that time and everything, so it was nice. So that might have helped my case a bit. Other than that, probably I would have to say it really did help to just kind of be neutral and not take anyone's side. Just kind of try to play a friend to everyone.
Right. You kind of were like Switzerland.
Exactly.
So if you were a leader, you would likely be like Switzerland.
Yes.
Gotcha. So what was the shortest time? So because you said that you were involved with 7, was there any of those where you died like pretty early on, or just in general ended up dying on that, or?
Not usually. I usually stayed alive for a while in these events. Yeah, there wasn't really once that I just died straight off the bat.
Gotcha.
For, like the other-ish experiment that I was in, the prison experiment, that one I stayed alive till the last day.
Gotcha. Okay, so that one, because that one, I would say really the climax is what killed you. Wasn't there like anything other than that?
You literally see me just die
Yeah.
in the experiment because I'm literally defecting to help the prisoners.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you were one of the you were one of the guards. I forgot about that. So have you been a part of any like pre-game civilizations? Because that was something that had popped up with Quip, and so I was told that Elanulo had actually planned the Aculon, yes, but I figured he had a little bit of pull because he had already been on one previously, so
you're allowed to pregame civilizations. That's not a rule or anything.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I was just wondering if you had been a part of any pregame civilizations yourself.
Yep, Tavern, as I said, Tavern was decided.
Yeah, you guys were pretty much already, and even for the other one, like the other games that you'd attended, had you not done any pregame civilizations before that, or?
No.
Okay, gotcha. What's your general view on them?
I don't mind it as long as you can keep your views simple and actually manageable.
Okay, for me, my experience in Season 2, it was actually fun. I'm actually enjoying it, to be honest, despite the fact that I was a nomad, doing some stuff, living in the jungle, trying to avoid as many conflicts as possible. Which in the end of the day, I went to the Aculon and just... I just hung out with Snow and Mindless at the tavern stall.
I was there too.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. But I mean, what's funny about in Season 2 was that a lot of people died because of Creeper.
Yeah, the Creeper thing was pretty funny. There was a lot of people that did that to those.
Yeah, I'd seen that. I had actually thought about quite a few ways that could have probably been avoided, and I think that's another reason why I want to participate, because there's things that I see and I'm like, oh, I could fix this. So here's more or less what I'm actually shooting for with the video. I'm not actually planning on hosting my own civilization experiment, because that's what Quip thought I was trying to do. What my idea was, because that's, a lot of other people are doing civilization experiments, I wanted to try and make some sort of a blueprint of okay, here's a consistent thing that works for each civilization. So if you ever played in a civilization game, you could just read this and pretty much do that, and you're gonna have a successful game.
I'm thinking at this stage our next step is going to be to get involved with another server, possibly a pre-game server, and see if we can't weasel our way into a couple of civilization experiments. This is going to be an episodic thing, so go ahead and let me know down in the comments below if you guys like this kind of content, and we'll see what happens in the coming episodes. Stay tuned for that. I'm just interested as to what I might find.